Fellow Toastmaster, great to see you all today. It's our first meeting after the area contest, where we had a couple of candidates who went and did a table topic competitions. Thank you to Sila and Melanie for having participated as contestants to this area contest. And thank you also, Nicole, and all the others who played roles during that meeting in making it work. I will be very brief and I will hand it immediately over to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Maria Teresa, to run us through our meetings today.
Oh, was that the handover? Okay, well, Mr. Presiding Officer, fellow Toastmasters, it's a pleasure to see you all. You know, it occurs to me now that we have been in, lockdown almost a year, and still somehow we managed to make this club work. And to each and every one of you that's part of that effort, I only say thumbs up and keep it up. On the other hand, sometimes in our Toastmaster meetings, I have a feeling that life is like a box of chocolates. You never really know what you're going to get. But at least today, I've jumped in at the last minute, somebody else has jumped in at the last minute, and we have a full program. So at least one of my responsibilities is walking you through the agenda. I have put it in the chat in case you'd like to glance at it yourself, but at least I will describe it now briefly. We will have a regular Toastmaster meeting with 2 prepared speeches. We will have a table topic section, and we will also have an evaluation section. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right straight into it. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce our general evaluator for today.
We didn't hear you after Toast. When you introduced the evaluator, we didn't hear you. Oops.
Okay. The day last time with the theme of Women's Day. I'm looking forward to you now as general evaluator.
Oh, Maria Teresa, your internet is unstable. We didn't hear what you said just now.
But I know she introduced me, so I will just jump in. Hello, everyone. Today I'm the general evaluator. I am going to present my amazing team who is going to explain their role and their duties. The first one is going to be the grammarian, Jessica.
Thank you, Toastmaster, our general evaluator, Julia. So I will be playing the role of the grammarian today, which means I will be keeping track of grammatical errors, and I will also be awarding a best grammar award at the end of the meeting. I also chose a word of the day, which is belie. And the definition of that is to give a false impression, to show something to be false or wrong, or to obscure the existence or true state or character of something. So for example, to use this word in a sentence, I could say, my relaxed attitude when answering a table topics question belies my nervousness. So maybe I appear relaxed, but in reality, I'm nervous. So back to you, Julia.
Thank you, Jessica. Could you please write in the chat the word so we can all remember it and how it's spelled, because for non-native speakers, many times it's very useful for us to read it. Our second, I already said it, thank you. The second one is going to be our timekeeper, Gabriela Guevara. Is going to explain her role.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Yes, my role is to be a timekeeper. So for the people who are going to give a prepared speech, they have a minimum of 5 minutes. So I will show I need to remove my background, but I will show a green folder. For the 6 minutes, I will show a yellow, and at the 7 minutes, I will show a red. The table topics, they have a minimum of 1 minute. I will show the yellow at the 1:30 and the red at the 2 minutes. And for the evaluations, the minimum is 2 minutes. Then the yellow card will come at the 2:30 and the red at the 3-minute mark. Thank you.
Just as a reminder for the speakers to pin Gabriela in your screen so you can actually see the colors. And our last one, well, it's not our last one, but the all counter is going to be Karen, who is going to explain us the hums that we need to avoid.
Yeah, thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Today, good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. Today, I will be the counter, and as Julia pointed it out, I will count the use of the crutches, and etc. Thank you.
So our ballot counter is going to be Pinar, and we usually do not explain her role. And so I'm going to give back the floor to our Toastmasters of the day, to Maria Teresa, if we can hear her. Oh.
Thank you, Toastmaster Julia. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, I just would like to go back, a point of order. I would like to go back to our timer because we also time. So can you give us an update on the time frame for the table topics and the evaluations?
Yeah, sorry, I think I may have some internet connections. I think it's for me to explain again the table topic timing. Okay, so for the table topics at the 1 minute, you will see a green card. At the 1:30, the yellow, and at the 2-minute mark, there's going to be a red card. So that's the maximum time. And for the evaluations, at the minimum time, it's 2 minutes. So you will see a green card. Then at 2:30, a yellow card, warning. And at the 3-minute mark, the red folder. Thank you. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gabriela and timer for today for including that in your words. I mean, I know for myself, we all sort of take it for granted. Again, because yesterday and up till this morning, I saw a subject in the title about the internet, but now that appears to have changed. Anyway, we still are going to have a prepared speech, luckily, by one of our well-established Toastmasters, Scylla. She's going to be delivering from a Pathways Project team collaboration. But before we ask Scylla to come to the floor, could we ask her evaluator to tell us the objectives of her project? Toastmaster Ines.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. Hello, Toastmasters, honored guests. We will have a very creative Toastmaster, and she will have to inspire us today. In her speech, do what you do, feel what you feel, she will have to connect with us. I will look at clarity, focal variety, her eye contact, gestures, her comfort level, and ours as well, interest, the engagement, and actually if the topic was really appropriate for her goal of today. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ines. I don't know if everybody's just working now over the lunch period, but I found internet connection unstable, and I had a little bit trouble with you, Ines, breaking up, but that's not going to stop us. We look forward to hearing Toastmaster Scylla to present her project. Toastmaster Scylla, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters and fellow Toastmasters. Do what they do and feel what they feel. If I ask you, what do you remember the most from your university times, what would that be? Is it the time when you party with your friends nonstop? The time when you work tirelessly to make money to repay your student loans? Or is that a particular lecture that you remember the most because you like it the most? For me, one of the things that I remember the most from my university days, and even until today, I'm extremely grateful, is actually a social science experiment that I have conducted at one of the psychology class. So I studied economics, and like all other similar social science subjects, we love to conduct experiments about human behavior. Though I only have taken one psychology class, this experiment is the one that I remember the most. The class was taught by Dr. Kong, whom actually was around in his early 60s when he was teaching us. And he shared with us an interesting journey that he had right from the beginning of the class. He actually was an expert for a long time of his academic career. He was an expert in artificial intelligence. And then he decided at the very end of his academic career to switch to study Chinese philosophers. From artificial intelligence to Chinese philosophy by a psychology professor. I mean, this doesn't seem to make sense. And for us, it sounds really crazy because what good is that you are going to get from Chinese philosophy, especially in an academic world whereby everyone is trying to quantify your result when you are supposed to produce the largest number of publications within the shortest amount of time. So what additional wisdom or things that you can get from Chinese philosophy? But Dr. Kong, on the other hand, actually told us how confused and lost as he went deeper and deeper into artificial intelligence. Isn't that the biggest irony for a psychologist, he once said, when the more and more you study about the subject, and yet it did not make you become a better person. And that's the time that he realized maybe some traditional Chinese wisdom might help, especially those that remind us of the importance of empathy. One day he asked us to do a take-home assignment, and this is the social experiment that I talk about. He basically asked us to do something that you have never done before. Any project, any task that you have never done before, but you have to observe the process and to record the details very carefully and then report it back to the class. Sounds simple, isn't it? So the task that I have decided to do is to prepare a meal for my family. And by now you should know how spoiled I was by my parents if I haven't done that until university time. So on a Sunday afternoon, I borrowed a cookbook from the library. I followed the recipe in the cookbook, went to the market, get all the ingredients, went back home, chop everything, cut everything, spent the whole morning in the kitchen, of course, messing things up. But I was happy that I managed to make a simple lunch for my family. It was a very simple task and it gave me a lot of joy. But of course, the process was difficult and challenging because I've never done it before. But the most important of all, I guess, is the process actually made me realize a few things. After that, I understood why mom and dad would yell at us at the beginning of every single meal, ask us to help to prepare the table. Because if you're the one sweating the whole day, spending all these hours in the kitchen, you want someone to help, at least with setting up the table. And furthermore, also it is through this process that I realized some casual comment that we made, while we were having the food actually might be quite hurtful to the one who prepared your meal. You might not realize it, but, oh, this is too salty. Oh, that is too bland. Oh, how come we cannot have more of this and that? Casual comment that we made like this, I mean, to the one who sweat, their whole days, a few hours to prepare it, it is hurtful. And of course, then, now I also understand why we all have to stay after the meal to help to clean up the table, to wash the dishes, to prepare, the cleaning up. I mean, what more do you expect, your parents to do for you? So after submitting the assignment, I seem to be able to understand a little bit better about, Dr. Kong's idea of finding the wisdom in old Chinese philosophy. While AI actually gives us the tool to predict human behavior, it doesn't give us the empathy and the ability to connect with each other. Last week, I have had the opportunity at work to organize an online meetings for 2 days, each day for 2 hours or so. It was short, but the whole process really stressed me out. And after this experience, I've definitely become a lot more mindful and grateful when I attend an online meeting. I mean, I know we are all sick and tired of online meetings by now, but how many of us pay attention to the amount of energy and time and the people behind the screen that make the online meetings possible? And so this is why the speech is actually dedicated to all the members of the club who have made this online meeting possible after 1 year after after the COVID. And this is also the speech for you, for those of you who have not ventured out of your comfort zone. I challenge you to try new tasks this year and to take up different roles in the club. Do what they do so as to feel what they feel. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Silla, for an inspiring speech, and I hope people are going to take your words to heart. Of course, you will get a proper evaluation in the context of our Toastmaster meeting. He now has an opportunity via the chat to give you their impressions of your speech. So, Madam Timer, could we please have 1 minute for this exercise? Thank you, Madam Timer, Toastmaster Gabriella. We move now to our next prepared speech. And since I've gone out of easy speak, that I'm trying to keep my internet running and not having difficulty leading us through this meeting and hearing what you all have to say, I would like to ask the evaluator now to please give us both the title and the project from Pathways plus the objectives. I leave that task to Toastmaster Lily.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. The speech title is Our Communication Style in Business Meetings. And in easy speak, it tells us it's the Visionary Communication Project, understanding your communication style. And the objective is to share a communication style and its impact on professional and personal relationships, avoid reporting on the content of the project, and in the project itself, it tells us that basically the same. The purpose of this project is for the members to learn about different communication styles, about the member, this means the speaker, for Tristan to learn about different communication styles and identify his or her primary style. And the purpose of this speech is for the member to share the impact of his or her style on others. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Madam Evaluator. So I appreciated something Toastmaster Tristan recently made in a Toastmaster meeting. He said when he was attending one of the IAEA official meetings, he was somehow thinking about how those speakers could have been better had they been in Toastmasters. And he realized some of the things they could learn from Toastmasters. I know he has learned a lot. We have learned a lot from him. He has that je ne sais quoi that makes it always interesting. My little bit of French I throw in Toastmaster Tristan. I invite you to take the stage to deliver your speech. Toastmaster Tristan.
Madam Toastmaster of the Day and fellow Toastmaster. It was on Tuesday, 30th of January, 2018. I was on the Kallenberg and I was about to start and join the annual IAEA Senior Management Retreat with the DG Emano, our 6th Deputy Director General, and about some 40 directors of the agency, all sitting around a round table for a day of retreat. And I was thinking myself, and it was a few months after I joined Toastmaster, I was thinking about myself, how is going to be my communication style or strategy today? Because early on in my career, I'm a very talkative person. I have something to say on anything. And I would be usually the one in a meeting to be the first one to speak, and I would be ready to shoot the guns and start shooting at the ideas. And I realized that this was not a very good, effective strategy generally, and is very useful. So here today, I would like to share with you what I've learned, and also in the context of this specific senior management retreat, how I applied something I learned about communication style in the specific context of a professional meeting or what I would call a business meeting, because many of us attend some of those functions. And I will try to circle among 3 ideas. Should I contribute to the meeting? How should I contribute? And what should I contribute? On what should I contribute? So these are the three themes I would like to approach. First one, should I contribute to a meeting, a business meeting and I attend? Hell yes, you should aim to contribute to a meeting. You should aim for it. Otherwise, why have you been invited? Just to occupy a chair, to waste your time, to enjoy the coffee if they offer coffee or the view, or just simply listen and say nothing, have no expression. Generally, you're invited to a meeting for a specific purpose, and generally with the aim of you to contribute in a way or another. And if you don't, you might not get invited again. So just think about this. So yes, you should. And in the specific case of that meeting, it was the directors, the DG with the 6 DDG and the 40 directors. And we were, as the director, the audience of that meeting. We were expected to contribute to that day of retreat. It's an exercise of visibility, but also trying to build on your influence. So yes, you should contribute to meetings that you attend. How should I contribute to a specific meeting? Well, that will depend on the type of meeting. If you have a small team meeting, it's a bit different than you have a large divisional meeting, or even if you're attending a town hall meeting with several hundreds of people, the way on how you can contribute might differ from a meeting to another. You also, the way you can contribute is either asking a question, adding new elements, or giving a new perspective, or bringing a new risk to a point, bringing that new perspective, making a suggestion or a proposal, or sometimes simply expressing your support to what you've heard being said by someone or by the main speaker. The how you do it is very critical. And here is be short and to the point. 3-5 sentences, maximum 3 ideas that you bring. And let me give you an example. I support what Bill just said on having this company joining us in this project. But we need to watch out about the risk on the consequences it might have on this other part of our activity that might be impacted by this decision. So I suggest we bring Janice on board, that she could comment. Very short, 3 ideas in a very tactical manner. So when I joined the senior management retreat, I say, how will I participate to this meeting? Up front, I said, I only gonna make a maximum of 3 interventions, not more. Some directors are not talking at all for the entire day, and I don't think it's a good strategy. And some are taking the floor and speaking, and I used to do that. Speaking, and you see the people rolling their eyes and say, can you just stop now? And so three shots and to the points. And by being short and to the point, will project confidence and might belie your apprehension. So it's a good strategy. And my last point is, on what should I contribute? So it should be related either to your topics. So like I'm a finance person. So if topic is about the mentioning financial aspect in a meeting, I'm usually more inclined to communicate, or it's something which is close to your heart or your passion of you on how the organization you work is working, please go ahead. If you can add something, because just don't take the floor to say nothing or to sing something nice, and sometimes also to support views or support someone, because when you speak, you need also having people support her. So if you agree with what someone said, maybe, and nobody's taking floor, just say, I agree and I support that thing, and that person will appreciate. In that specific senior management retreat, I don't remember exactly what are the 3 points I said, but I remember very clearly that there was a point on some issue in HR. I had something to say on that point, but I thought to myself, I said, well, it's the morning. Do I really want to waste one of my 3 shots on this point? Actually, no, I'm just going to prefer to keep my points on other things. So I decided, so you have to be proactive in these things. So to conclude, if you're attending a business meeting or a professional context meeting, yes, you should try to contribute. Try to, even if it's at hand hall, ask a question, express support. How you do it is critical. Be to the point, short, depending on the structure. And contribute to things which are closer to you and closer to your topics, to your heart, or where you can bring some value. So the message for you is, at the next meeting you're attending, think at the start of the meeting, what will be your communication style in that meeting? How are you going to approach this? And frankly, I can share with you, since I learned to shut up, excuse my French, in meetings, I'm actually more impactful and it makes my life much easier. Don't forget, we have 2 ears, but only 1 mouth. So it's all about listening more about your communication strategy. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tristan, for your insight and your good humor. It means a lot to us. Again, we have 1 minute for individual feedback via the chat to Toastmaster Tristan on his prepared speech. Toastmaster Gabriella, can you start timing us for 1 minute, please? Thank you, Toastmaster Gabriella. Now we move to a section where I hope we can have some fun today. You know, some people love table topics. Some people hate table topics. Why do table topics? We do table topics that we learn to think on our feet. No preparation, no idea of what's coming at us, and you have to respond. In this instance, we're going to have Toastmaster Gordana, who's relatively new to the club, but she has already last weekend thrown herself into the deep end, being a very active participant at the area contest. I admire you, Gordana, but I'm even looking forward more to your table topics to entertain
Okay, we lost her there, but I will take the lead now. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters. Today I prepared...
Toastmaster Gordana.
Oops, sorry. I'm sorry, we lost you a bit, so I took over. Today I prepared 5 questions. They are somehow related to each other. It is part of a bigger topic, but I will not reveal that right now. I will have a little discussions maybe afterwards. I just want to remind you to try to not belie, to be yourselves as much as you can. This is for practice purposes. We are here all in the same level. We are not here to judge. And please do remember, there is no good or bad answer. There is no right or wrong answer. All right, without further ado, my first question would go to Jessica. Jessica, the word enemy is defined by the Merriam-Webster dictionary as one that is antagonistic to another, or something that is harmful or deadly. It can also be described as a hostile group of people that are actively working to hurt, to create harm, to create fear, or to weaken another group of people or a person. I would like to ask you, Jessica, what is an enemy for you? And if you had the chance to see through the heart and soul of your enemy, what would you see? Jessica, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gordana. I've noticed a very philosophical theme to this meeting so far. So for me, I would have to say an enemy above maybe the basic first idea that comes to mind is a military enemy, someone that you have to face on the battlefield. But if I think about it for me personally, I've never been a soldier, I've never been in the military. So when I think of an enemy, I think of something that keeps me from achieving something I want to achieve or doing something I want to do for the better of either my life or my family or my friends' lives. So not necessarily something working against me, but something that is in my way. And sometimes the enemy can even be myself if I'm doubting myself too much or not doing the thing I'm supposed to do, studying when I was in college for something I needed to prepare for, or putting in the time for a project that I needed to work more on. So that is also for me a definition of enemy. So maybe the term itself, enemy, belies the fact that it doesn't have to be something opposite of yourself. It can actually be within yourself and you have to overcome it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jessica. That was, I think exactly of the same thing when I say enemy or think of an enemy, because most of the times we are our own biggest enemies. And the second question, I would like to ask Karen. Friedrich Nietzsche says, but the worst enemy you can meet will always be yourself. Now, yes, it's true that most of the times the worst enemy is ourselves, but maybe not always. So in this context, I would like to ask you, if you had a friend who spoke to you in the same way that you speak to yourself sometimes in a negative way, it's what it's meant, how long would you allow this friend to stay in your life?
Yeah,
Karen?
thank you very much, Madam Topics Master. Actually, my reply is very short to this, because when you were asking already, Jessica, I was thinking about the answer that she gave, and I agree with her and with you and with Nietzsche, that sometimes or most of the times we are our worst enemy. And for the second question that you just asked me, like, I would probably not be friends with this person anymore if she or he talked to me the way sometimes I talk to myself. And this is, yeah, like a very like deep and personal work that I'm trying to do. I actually started going to therapy for the first time in my life at the end of the year, and I'm really making a lot of progress. yeah, but probably I won't be friends with that person anymore. So I'm also trying to be kinder to myself, and just to motivate myself and to be my best friend instead of my worst enemy. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you for your vulnerability to share that with us. And if I were to put in that position, I'll probably have no friends at all afterwards. All right, the next question, it'll go to Julia. Julia, failures. Failures are part of our life. They're inevitable for success. We fail million times before we reach something we want to reach. We fail million times before we achieve our potentials, if we even achieve our potentials. So in this context, Julia, I would like to ask you, what is a failure for you? And what do you think after experiencing a great failure in your life? What do you think and what do you do after such experience? Julia, the floor is yours.
Thank you. One of the biggest failures that comes to my mind, if we could describe it as so, and I think it's first important to start with what's a failure, and I think it will be connected to what are your expectations of the effort you're putting into something. And I remember when I was 16, I started competing in debate competitions. I think some people do know about it, others not. It's the UN model, United Nations. So you represent a country, it's like the United Nations, and you need to debate about a situation. And it was the first year my high school did the program. And I remember preparing for months. We had mock sessions and we knew our topic. And once I started in the competition talking, I was shaking, I was moving everywhere. I couldn't think reasonably, I couldn't speak reasonably. And after 1 or 2 days, I realized I totally suck at this. And it took many years of stumbling, of shaking, of not being able to think clearly for me to get to a level where I'm not dying while speaking in public. So somehow it's funny because some people see me now and they have not seen all the struggle of literally 10 years of dying in front of a stage to feel somehow comfortable. And as well, if I remember the failure of the first topic tables, I remember it was 10 seconds I would speak, and then it was just completely red. And then I'll be like, okay, I'm done. I can just run away now. But now it's actually quite interesting. It's more enjoyable. And with time, it's not a failure anymore. And the thing about failure, I cannot see clearly when I have overcome all these little failures that seem to be okay, but it gets there. Just need to reflect on it.
Thank you, Julia, for your input. Yeah, I do agree. I cannot agree more that after some time, failures do seem like such a small thing. Why was I stressing out about that? But at that time, they can be quite a big problem for us. The fourth question that I would like to ask, it goes to Pinar. Pinar, the successes. Successes are something we try for it. We are inspired by it. We take pride in it. I mean, as humans, genuinely, we live for success. Whether that's a success in our relationship, whether that's success in work, a project, or even just making and baking a bread. These are the little things that make us happy and satisfied. I would like to ask you, Pinar, what is a success for you? And what do you do and think after experiencing a great success in your life? Pinar, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much for the thank you so much, Topic Master, for this great question. Actually, mostly I don't like table topic speech, as you can see. Uh, almost every after meetings, I felt, oh my gosh, again I failed it, and what I am doing wrong, etc. I realized that yes, it's kind of failure from some perspective, but I'm going to join the meeting, and how can I say, I push myself to say something, to answer unprepared question. So from some perspective, it's kind of success for me. And I'm trying to enjoy during this challenging process for me. Yeah, it is, of course, it couldn't be defined great, successful, but somehow it's kind of good attitude to feel successful during our lifetime. Uh, Maybe now I couldn't say the proper example what was my great successful during my lifetime, but I think this this getting out of comfort zone, it is my successful. So thanks again for this great question. Back to
Thank you, Pinar, for that, for what you shared. And trust me, you're not the only one. I'm also very big on, it maybe doesn't look like, but every time I speak, it's a big success for me and I feel good, even though what I said, maybe it's not the smartest sometimes. So you're not the only one. And I have one more question. This question I would like to ask Toastmaster Nicole. Nicole, it is something similar with all the questions that I posed before. We all have a certain situation or an issue that is making us more negative, thinking more negative of ourselves. I would like to ask you about an issue that often troubles you and often elicits harsh self-criticism. If you can think of such an issue, if you don't want to share it, it's fine. But my question is, what are your thoughts and feelings about this particular issue that troubles you or makes you elicits more harsh self-criticism? The floor is yours, Nicole.
Thank you, Jordana. You've been talking a lot about failure, about success, about what makes our life better or worse. And I think, as you said, that all these subjects are related. And it comes to a juncture in a way, and the juncture is fulfillment. Because whatever we do, successes, failure is what comes at the end. Have we fulfilled what we expected? Or has life brought us fulfillment? And I think that fulfillment is more important than success, failures, and that sort of thing. And in order to reach that fulfillment, we have, I think, to analyze ourselves a little bit. That's what a very well-known philosopher and psychotherapist, Viennese, by the way, said, and that was Viktor Frankl. And when we analyze ourselves, we have to be fair with us and we have to be a bit objective. So that's what we'll try to do today. One of my biggest problems, what I have to work on, is the fact that I tend to see glasses more as half empty as half full. That can make you a very realistic person. That has advantages, and that is to say that when something bad happens, you're prepared. and you are often not disappointed because you expect the worst, and when it comes, it's okay. You've prepared yourself. But you're also making your life pretty miserable, because there are times when we have to be not pessimistic, but optimistic. And we're living through a time when we have to see the glass half full. And I'm telling that to you as a rather pessimistic person. And why do we have to see it half full and not half empty? Well, it's because we are privileged people here. All of us here today in Toastmasters. There are people who are facing much more difficult situations, and there are people who in the past faced much more difficult situations. So that's what I tell myself when I see my glass half empty. I think to myself, okay, try and be positive for your own life, for your own fulfillment. Try to see sometimes the glass half full. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. It's a good input, and sometimes it's easier said than done. But I think with practice, it comes more natural to us to be more positive. I will just give a few more inputs on what I was trying to accomplish here with our questions. I really enjoyed each one of your answers to get a little different perspectives. These are questions that I've also have been asking myself. And it came to my mind, or had an idea to start with this kind of questions I was inspired by a book that I'm reading. It's called Self-Compassion by Christine Neff. As self-compassion itself is, definition of the word, it is kind of self-defined. It means to have a compassion toward ourselves. But before I was more aware of this word or what it means, or whether I apply it in my world or not, I had a very negative connotation with it. Self-compassion, to me, it meant like, come on, that's just an excuse for people who fail or for my mistakes. That's just an excuse for not working too hard. But as I started to read more about it, and surprisingly enough, there haven't been any research done until recently on this, I started to understand that self-compassion, it is simply being a good friend to yourself. This doesn't mean that we should not criticize ourselves, but should have a very, that line of criticizing ourselves in order to come to, okay, this is an area where I need to improve. But to constantly saying this in our mind, there is a very, very fine line between this positive criticism of self-criticism that goes slowly into a negative. And I just wanted to share with you that it's very, very important to practice to be kind to yourself. It means more than stopping to judge ourselves, but it means that we are actively comforting ourselves, and we are actively responding just as we would to a dear friend. Thank you very much. To you, Toastmaster Maria Teresa.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gordana. I'm a little bit surprised. I thought it was going to be light and fluffy, but it wasn't. But I got lots of insight into each and every one of you. At this stage of the meeting, it's time to vote for the best table topic speaker. I'll do a brief recap. We had Toastmaster Jessica, Toastmaster Karen, Toastmaster Julia, Toastmaster Pinar, and Toastmaster Nicole. I now give you the opportunity to submit your ballot for the best table topic speaker to be sent to Toastmaster Pinar. So now we come to the evaluation section. Are we going to be tough? Are we going to be easy? I don't know. Let's see how that goes. In order to do that, I now have to give control of the meeting to Toastmaster Julia, who is going to be leading us through the general evaluation section. Toastmaster Julia, it's your turn to take the stage.
Thank you, Toastmasters of the day. The moment has come to see everything that happened. The good and the bad we need to know. First, I will start with I'm sorry, point of order. I'm following the agenda from Toastmasters VIC, and I will put this in my own evaluation of general evaluator be better prepared. But okay, never mind. Never mind, I'm crazy. Going back, I will give the floor to the first evaluator for the first speech. The first speaker was Celia, and the evaluator is Ines. So please, Ines, if you can tell us from 2 to 3 minutes, the evaluation from the first speech.
Thank you, Toastmaster General Evaluator, Toastmaster Julia. Toastmaster Sila, your topic, and with the title, do what they do, feel what they feel. You had as a goal to inspire us, and you did it. You did it in fact, when it comes to the inspiration I needed from this particular speech of yours. Fantastic. The engagement you have and the connection you wanted to make with us and the topic combined was excellent. And I really have to comment, or I feel connected to the issues you mentioned. And I can really say, well done. You reached your goal, which was very simple, inspiration. And I felt that you really were able to get to that point. When it comes to issues related to clarity, I also feel it was clear to me what you want to achieve. I'm coming back to that because I had some suggestions. Focal variety was very well done. Your gestures, I could not really see it, of course, because we're all sitting, and this was a different way of presenting, of course, such an inspirational topic. Eye contact. I would actually say that that is a very important issue, because eye contact is, somebody said in the last competition, look at the camera. Try to make contact with us through the camera, through looking through at the camera, let me put it this way. And I did not really see it that much, but I guess you did your best. It was a very interesting and a very creative beginning of your speech. And I'm going quickly because I see the timer is timing me rigorously. To come to the issue of empathy and getting through psychology, human behavior, etc., was for my, I felt that it was a bit too long. You could have gone much faster to the issue of empathy. The relevance to mindfulness, dedication, and giving us back the mirror, because what you did with this speech, you held a mirror to all of us, and especially also to me. And I think you did well, and you were able to achieve the goals. Well done. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator, Julia.
Thank you, Toastmasters Ines. Now we're going to go to the second part of the evaluation for the first speeches. For Tristan, who gave the second speech on communication style for business meetings, our last minute evaluator is going to be Lily, who is going to have 2 to 3 minutes to tell us about the goods and the bads of Tristan's speech. Lily, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Evaluator. Tristan, as usual, very inspiring speech. Your topic was our communication style in business meetings. and the project was to evaluate the styles. And even though it said the speech should not be a report on the Understanding Your Communication Style project, somehow I was expecting you to tell us then what is your communication style. It sounded like there was a questionnaire and you would tell us, okay, what exactly is your style? But actually, you made a very, very good beginning, very dramatic start, interesting, engaging, personal, professional, absolutely relevant to our work context at the VIC, and recognizing your own style and evaluating, belying your personal, what's the word there, your personality, when you described that you would tend to previously jump in and say something at every opportunity, and now you notice many other people doing that and some people not saying anything at all. You gave us very good content, very good advice, when to attend a meeting, how to attend a meeting, what should I say. You structured your content very well using the number 3. How should I contribute? Should I contribute? And what should I contribute? And you gave us some very valuable tips on how to contribute and what to contribute. And your content was extremely tactical, really giving us a proactive approach of how we ourselves can be more effective in our communication and how important it is to be short and to the point. Your gestures were very good. You were using your hands. We could see your hands. And as you showed us, the points on your hands in the camera. I felt you could look directly into the camera. I guess you may have been looking at notes for yourself, just as I'm looking down on my paper here, and to really find the fine line between looking at the screen or near the screen. I could tell you were not looking directly into the camera, and that point has been addressed already in my previous evaluator. So suggestion, there was one point where you made a comment that I did not understand. You were explaining things and then said something about some response that somebody made, and then you went on in a way that I didn't understand what you said. You know, there was something that I don't remember the exact point. I'll be interested to look at the video to see. There was one point where your speech was not so clear. Apart from that, very inspiring, and congratulations, I think, very well done. Very relevant content, especially for this club.
Thank you, evaluator number 2, Lily. It is always quite tricky, I don't know about you, to be able to evaluate correctly people who are very experienced. So I almost always grateful for people who are very experienced also to evaluate them, because you pick up on things that I wouldn't necessarily be able to pick on. So that's excellent. Now we're going to move to our other part of the evaluation. First, Jessica is going to give us the report about how we use the word belied, which I was trying to think of it, but I could not find a good phrase with it. And also about the use of the language.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator Julia. So in total, 3 people used the word of the day belie: Tristan, Gordana, and Lily. Maybe Maria Teresa also used it, but I couldn't hear all of her audio, so I'm sorry if I missed it. But thanks to everyone who put it in your speech or your table topics answer. As far as mistakes, there were very few, but I'll point out just a few I noticed. In Scylla's speech, you said you were speaking about the world of academia and you said whereby. And in that context, in English, I would use in which. So the world of academia in which. Tristan, in your speech, you said say something on anything, but I would say something about. So just a very small difference. There was also 2 issues with using plural nouns in certain circumstances. Tristan, you said 3 to 5 sentence, and it should have been 3 to 5 sentences. And Gordana, you said, I believe, a little subjects, and it should have been a little subject. A was the singular noun. Oh, and Gordana, you also said we fail million times, and in English it would be we fail a million times. So even though it's a plural word, we put the word a in. And the last one I noted was Pinar. She said, can be defined as great successful, and I would say very successful. So instead of using great, using very successful. But for the grammar award, it was very tough to decide, but I've decided to award it to Nicole today because I really liked the vocabulary and the sentence construction that you used when you were responding to the table topics, and that you mentioned Viktor Frankl, who I'm a huge fan of. So congratulations. Back to you.
Thank you, grammarian. Now we are going to have our timekeeper, Gabriela, who is going to tell us if everyone's on time.
Yeah, hello. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. So I'll give my time report. Sila, you did 7:25. Tristan, 7:05. Jessica, 1 minute with 20 seconds. Karen, 1 minute with 3 seconds. Julia, 2 minutes with 22 seconds. Pinar, 1 minute with 45 seconds. Nicole, 3 minutes. In the evaluation, Ines, 3:15. And Lily, 3 minutes exactly. Thank you. This is my report. Back to you.
Thank you very much. And the last one is going to be our ballot counter, Pinar, who's going to tell us who won the table topics speech today.
Yeah, thank you, General Evaluator. Today, winner is the Nicole of our table topic speech. Yeah, congratulations, Nicole.
Thank you, but I would have lost in a competition.
And Karen is going to tell us the and other awkward silences that we did in between.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. I will mention your name and next the time, the number of times you used some crutches. So if you don't listen to your name, either you didn't speak or you were perfectly speaking. So Tristan 6 times, Gordana 21, Ines 3, Jessica 4, Lily 3, Sila 5, Pinar 5, Gabriela 3, and Julia 8. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. It seems the club would have been running a bit rich this session, passing off the coins as we usually would have. Now I'm going to give my general speech as a general evaluator. I believe the meeting ran very smoothly, apart from the few little connection problems that we have here and there, but that is not big deal this time, or never actually in Toastmasters. And I had three things that I wanted to talk to you about. The first one is that as a timer, I thought it would be generally a good idea to change the virtual background. And maybe that's something we can think of because it's a lot brighter and it's more obvious when you're speaking. And then not every single person in the club is forced to print the paper and have them with them wherever they are. Just as a suggestion, something that we could be doing. And for now that I went to the competition, to the division contest, and I was the timekeeper, I realized that in table topics, people have 30 seconds to think before they speak if they want. And this is something we're not all the time reminded of, but I would like to also point out that we do have those 30 seconds, and the time starts from the moment the person speaks, or from the moment the person does a hand gesture or a body language portraying that they have started. So for us, a bit more experience, we can, if we want, or for anyone, to actually take the time to think about it for 10 or 20 seconds, if you want, to actually start talking. And based on today, I don't know if you realize it was a very philosophical and group therapy session, which I felt quite warm. And based on last session that it was for Women's Day, I think we could consider as a group to perhaps have themes of the day. So for somehow the table topics speaker could have relevant questions somehow molded, if the person wanted, to the theme of the day, depending of the main speakers. Because this is something the person can do 1 or 2 days in advance, and the prepared speeches is something that actually people prepare with, I guess, 1 or 2 weeks in advance. So I think there could be some sort of coordinations as well with the table topics master of the day. So there could actually be a very nice harmony if this is something we would like. I liked it from the last 2 meetings. There were a bit of a lot of fluidity in the meeting. And these are the 3 points I wanted to talk to you about today. I think everything else went quite well, apart from me not being on point all the time. But for that, we have Maria Teresa, who is going to tell me everything that happened. And she's going to be, I give the floor now to the table topics, Oh my God. I give the floor to Maria Teresa.
Thank you, Toastmaster Julia. A little bit of nervous, but you did a fine job. Fellow Toastmasters, I have to say something right now. You might not like it, but I'm going to say it. Jessica, Pinar, Karen, Gabriela, Gordana, you are our future. You are relatively new, and despite the fact that you're nervous and maybe feel a little bit insecure, you're stepping in and you're taking roles. I really appreciate your commitment to the club. You make some of the older members look bad. In any effect, carry on, be your dynamic, inspiring selves, go outside your comfort zone, as Jessica suggested, and this club will keep running. I mentioned one other thing. Julia was talking about all the money that would be collected with the accounting. Back in the old days when we were meeting in person, we had a piggy bank, and for every ah you made, you had to pay 10 cents. But the maximum, no matter how many ahs you made, was €1. So I guess we're having a deficit, at least in that respect, but we still are keeping our meetings running. It's so important. I encourage you, again, the newcomers and the oldies, to sign up, be active, and never forget the 2nd and the 4th Tuesday of the month. With that, I return control of the meeting to our Toastmaster of not the Toastmaster of the day, our presiding officer and president, Toastmaster Tristan.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Before I say a few closing words, I will turn to Nicole, who would like to share something.
Thank you. Yeah, for a point of order, or not point of order, I don't know. Coming back to what Maria Teresa said, there is going to be in April a division contest. We went through the area contest. We do not have contestants for the division contest, but they're still looking for a number of judges. So if there are people among you who want to volunteer to be a judge, there are certain requirements to be a judge. If you are a complete beginner, you cannot be a judge. You have to have completed 2 levels. And going back to what Maria Teresa also said, it is true that, and I'm very happy to see that we have very committed new members here, but for the area contest, I have to say that at the last minute, and I'll come back to that in a speech later on. At the last minute, when we really needed people, and when we thought that we were not going to make it, the oldies, like you say, Maria Teresa, were there. And Lily and Ines, myself, and yourself, we were there. I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nicole, for sharing your thoughts. And in a very cultural way, you used the but, which was very like but, which I thought we should say and. But on that note, thank you all for joining us today. I hope you all learned something, you gained something out of it. It was actually very interesting to hear from all of you. And yes, Pinar.
Except Melanie.
Let's hear from Melanie. How she's doing. Melanie, how are you doing?
I think she got
Can
hacked.
you hear me? I think
Yes.
it had. I'm here the whole time, but I just don't want to show you my camera or let you hear my voice. I'm a little bit under the weather, and I'm in my pajamas. So
Mhm.
I will see you all in a few weeks, I hope. Okay?
Yes.
Bye.
Okay.
On that note, thanks
Thank you,
for joining
Melanie.
us today. Stay safe, stay well, and see you soon.
Super. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.